the Dr. Spot Mobile Pediatric Clinic began providing free services to children from birth to 18 years old. Since 2017, more than 2,900 children have received medical care, and more than 5,000 vaccines have been administered. Now, Lifesavers provides vehicles of hope to help shoulder the load and offers the love of Christ for those who felt they've been walking the road alone. Simply put, Lifesavers delivers real help for those facing adversity and crisis. And again, we want to thank you for being part of that through the years, for being that help. And we are excited about our special guest today, Lauren Scruggs Kennedy. Lauren has faced a crisis of her own, a life-altering moment that in an instant brought incredible challenge and adversity, quite possibly beyond what she could have ever imagined. Yet her story is also one of God's faithfulness, even in the darkest of times. Please help me welcome Lauren Scruggs Kennedy and Lifesavers board member Susie Hawkins.
We are delighted to have Lauren here, and thank you for being willing to come and share with us.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you. I know that most everyone here is very familiar with your story and with who you are, but let's just start. Tell us about what you're doing now, what you're doing in LA, and what your interest is, your job right now.
Oh my gosh, so right now, business-wise, I'm a blogger, and I focus heavily on all things wellness and non-toxic living, fashion, and just life experiences. And then we launched, I'm looking at my sister, but we launched a dry shampoo company, was it a year ago? 2 years ago. So I managed the marketing of that, and then I just launched the Clean Sweep, which is a 90-day subscription program on just how to practically clean up your life.
You are married to Jason Kennedy, who is nightly on E! News.
Yes.
And tell us about Jason, how you met him and what he's doing.
So we actually met through his co-host, and she took a little break, and now she's back, so we're so happy. But she reached out while she was going through a double mastectomy, and it was the same time as my accident. And so we got to know each other over about a year's worth of time. And I went to meet her in person and did an interview with her, and she introduced me to Jason on that trip. And it was just crazy how God plans things. Sorry, I'm looking at all my friends, and I feel like we just bust out crying. I'm so sorry. I just love seeing everyone. But yeah, so it's just really random. My mom was with me, and we went hiking the next day with Jason. So he had written out this list of things for us to do and put his number at the bottom. Just said, if you want to come hiking, text me tomorrow.
So your first date was with your mom there?
Exactly. Yep.
I like this. I think this is good.
And she's a tough one. She does not love every guy you have to go through with love over here.
That's funny.
So it was so much fun. And then, it's just crazy how God works because, we just ended up talking more, and he is just so good at pursuing. I always tell him, you should do a dating class for guys because I just look up to that so much because it takes a lot of courage to date and to pursue a woman. So, and then we ended up getting married a year and a half later, and he's just one of the most amazing people. Sorry.
Well, you should say that.
Yeah, but he just really creates intention to have a community and to pour into people. And also, he goes to men if he needs wisdom on things, which I really look up to. And we just have so much fun together.
And I know that you're very involved in some Christian causes in LA and strong Christian community there. And
yes.
We really commend you for that and admire that about your life.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's been a blessing.
I do have to say, Jason went to the same high school in Fort Lauderdale that my daughters did, and so we have a little special place for him, even though he doesn't know us.
I love it.
He doesn't know us, but he should know us.
I know, right?
So, let's talk about one more question about Jason. So the real question is, do you tell him what to wear every day?
oh my gosh, he has someone doing that for him.
Oh,
But he's always like, does this look okay? I'm like, you look great. Oh, but he's so funny. He honestly just doesn't really care.
that's why I'm asking that question. That tends to be a man thing.
Totally, yeah.
I'd say, I saw you tonight, honey. Maybe you need to think about this or that. Yeah. Well, let's talk about what's happened in your life, Lauren. Your life trajectory drastically changed after your accident in 2011, which everyone is very familiar with that story. How did your faith sustain you during that time? I know that was a long process. Your family is very close, but how did your faith get you through that time?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just, that was the source of my hope in the middle of pain. Mm-hmm. So I have amazing people around me and amazing friends and family, and sometimes that just didn't feel like enough, and it was a lot. It was a lot of provision, and you just still need more on top of that, and so that was Jesus for me, and just in really hard moments, just going to truth and having even my dad read scripture over me or my mom and just praying through things, but also being real. I think it was hard for me to be real with my emotions because it took a lot for me to be sad or be upset prior to, and I feel like I was going through the grieving and would be angry and sad, and it was all healthy to go through, but it was hard for me. So I think just knowing that like the Lord was there in that, and He suffered and He understands it better than anybody. So it was really comforting in that reason, and I just realized how much He provides daily, even in ways you just don't expect. I don't mean, in just every way possible.
And in some ways you don't always feel immediately, but looking back.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when people go through really difficult traumas, their view of God changes, and sometimes not for the best. Did that happen with you? Did this affect your view of God in any way?
It did in a better way.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that if I had anger towards God, and I think pain is such a gift in your life, even though no one wants it and it's hard to go through it.
Okay, don't throw anything at her, okay?
But it really develops you into who you are, and we're not here for ourselves. So God has such a bigger purpose in pain, and it's to live out His story for you. And so, I'm really thankful for that time, and just He was so present in the most amazing ways. So to me, I was never angry, because to me it's a loving thing to go through, which sounds crazy, but
no, we understand.
Well,
tell me this. Through all of your surgeries, I've heard you talk about this before, that with all of the surgeries and the adjustments you had to make, that this has changed your view of beauty, your definition of beauty. Talk to us about that. How does that work?
Yeah, so I don't think I realized how much I focused on it before, and I know probably all of us struggle with that for our whole lives, but that was the thing that impacted me in one of the greatest ways. So it kind of, I feel like when you go through a trauma or tragedy, you can see your idols very quickly, because it's what you, struggle with the most. And so it's like, I don't look the same, and I feel like people won't, treat me the same, or have respect for me, and I was afraid of people not thinking I could do anything, and I just, and I think it's so easy to look at physical, because it's just easy, it's right in front of you, and that's what a lot of people talk about, but beauty really is the internal, which sounds so cliche, but it's so true, and I feel like I saw that lived out through just, like, everyone responded differently than I thought in my mind, and then just your character is so important, and how you love people, I think, is what is so beautiful about someone.
Yeah, that is a gift, really, to go through something like this and realize at a deeper level what true beauty really is. And you're very open about that. And I'm going to say that if you've watched any of Lauren's videos on YouTube or read any of her blogs, you make that very clear and very plain. So thank you for doing that. Lauren has books for sale today. They're out by the front door if you would like to purchase one of her books. And I noticed that, is it in Stillwell, that Bethany Hamilton wrote the foreword to your book. And Bethany is the Soul Surfer, is her book. And she's the young woman that lost her arm while surfing. Tell us about your friendship with Bethany.
Oh yeah, I'm so thankful for her. I just remember one day my dad was like, "What do you need right now?" This is very soon after my accident, and I just said, "I really want to meet Bethany Hamilton because she was the only girl that I knew of that had lost a limb and was close to my age." And so we set up a Skype call with her and her mom and just became really close really fast. And then there were just times where we were in the same place at the same time. So I saw her a lot in that year to follow. And she called me one day and just said, "I feel like we should start a retreat with girls that have lost a limb or more than one and just encourage them and create a community." And so we started that, I think it was 6 years ago. And it's been one of the most incredible times, and just it's really cool to see some of the girls that were there the first year, and they were just a little insecure and just not confident, and they're either born without a limb or they lost. And now they're like leaders and just some of my close friends that I talk to all the time, and they're all across the country. But yeah, Bethany's amazing. Even if I have questions about the future, like, "Hey, how's it going with your baby? How do you hold your baby and change his diaper and all this stuff?" And she just tells me "I went through that and it's so much easier than you'll think, and it just works." So it's nice to have someone.
That's a gift from God. That is just a gift, isn't it? It really. Yes. Well, out of your friendship with her came the Scruggs Kennedy Foundation.
Yes.
So this is what you do. Tell us a little more about that. How often do you meet these girls that receive these prostheses? How does it work?
So two of my friends and I started the Scruggs Kennedy Foundation, and so one of the ladies is around 60 and she lost her leg in a motorcycle accident, and then my friend Ashley is my age, lost her leg in a train accident when she was 8. And we just all had the same passion because insurance covered the majority of my prosthetic arms, and I thought that was normal. And I started meeting these girls even at the grocery store at certain events, and they would come up to me with their prosthesis and just say, "Where did you get yours? Mine's falling apart, my thumb's off, I have holes in mine." And I just knew, or I had experienced how much wholeness my arm brought me, even though it's a physical thing. And so I remember exactly where I was driving in Dallas, and I just started praying, something has to happen here. This is just not okay. And I realized insurance in majority does not cover any of that. So even one of my sister's friends, her friend had one arm, and she was saying, "I can't decide if we should save for in vitro or if I should save for my new prosthesis." And it was just killing me. And so one year at our retreat, Lisa and Ashley were there, and they were just all arm girls, because Bethany and I just knew all arm girls at the beginning. And no one had a prosthesis on, and I was so confused, and they were confused by me. They were like, "Where is Lo?" All this stuff, and I'm like, because they were just looking for me without my arm. And it just became this topic, and we're like, "Do you guys want a prosthesis or not?" And they did, but no one could afford them because it's just so much cash out of pocket. So that's really what led us to start it, and it's been such a gift to walk through the prosthetic journey with these girls, because a lot of it comes from loss, really heavy loss, and so it's just been a really sweet experience, and then they're so empowered after they receive their arm, and it's really cool.
That is really, when I was reading your story, I thought that's a point of connection we have with you, because we have the doctor spot, which is designed for children on the poverty level that don't have insurance, same kind of thing. And so while it's very different, really appreciate your heart for that, and understanding that not everybody has advantages like some of us have. So where do you see that foundation going in the future?
Oh my gosh, we talk about this all the time, and we're not totally sure because we feel like we're so grassroots, and we're kind of just at this place where we're excited to see where God takes it. But we view it as just creating another avenue of community for women that, have just experienced loss, and just encourage each other and empower people, create more awareness of that world. I knew nothing about it until I lost my hand. So, yeah.
So if anyone here wants to put someone in connection with the foundation, just, is it a website? What
Yes.
How do they find that?
Yes, so
online?
it's lskfoundation.com, and then on Instagram it's at the LSK Foundation, and there's an application on the website.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's a wonderful thing that you're doing. Thank you for doing that. I'm sure that's more meaningful than we would even understand. So, all right, as we finish up, I have a few quick questions for you, Ms. Fashionista. I noticed on your website you like to recommend books. You must be a reader.
I actually listen to all my books on Audible because
Oh, well, there you go. So, sorry about that.
they're just like
You're quite a listener. You're quite a listener. Lauren.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in the car in LA.
Of
so
course. I guess you do.
gotta
I
listen.
guess you do. I guess you do. So, if you could recommend one book you've really enjoyed recently to us, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, Present Over Perfect is one of my favorite books. It taught me how to create boundaries
Shauna-
and say no.
Shauna, is that Shauna?
Shauna Nyquist.
Shauna
Yes.
Nyquist. Present Over Perfect. Yes.
Yes. And then Daring Greatly is amazing too.
What's the name of it?
Daring Greatly by
Daring-
Brene Brown.
Good. Brene Brown, Daring Greatly.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Good. All right, just a few quick, fun questions. So, what is your favorite spring, summer fashion trend?
Oh my gosh. There's so many good ones this year. I would say dad sneakers. I know I was like very hesitant towards it first, but I love them.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm over 50. What did you say? Actually 60, but... Actually 65, but... So, explain to me dad sneakers.
Okay, so they're just, you know the sneakers your dad would wear growing up and you're like, oh my gosh, those are like massive and not very cute?
Yeah, I think I know
Those are
those.
very in style right now. So,
But they're for young people to wear, not for dads to wear.
exactly.
Okay, you got that?
Dads can be
No.
very on trend now, that's not
You gotta be trendy, yeah. What about women? For women too?
That's for women, yes.
Oh, that's for women. Other one for guys.
Dad sneakers for
Okay,
women.
obviously I need to pay a little more attention to the law. Dad sneakers.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm loving.
What else? What else do you think is fun?
I feel like tie-dye is huge, which is so funny. And then one-sleeve shirts, which just takes me back to like elementary school. You know? These are like one-sleeve shirt from Abercrombie.
Okay, what do you think is the worst trend?
The worst trend.
Besides dad sneakers.
I'm trying to think. I've been seeing a lot of midi dresses, which fall kind of at your calf.
Yeah.
They don't look flattering on me, so I don't love that trend. But it's so pretty on people.
Yes. You should run for office. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Okay, let me ask you this. I've also noticed that you do a lot of fashion advice on your website, like where to shop and on. If you were going on a really cheap shopping spree,
Okay.
where would you go? A cheap shopping spree.
Probably H&M.
H&M, yeah, good.
Yeah,
Would that be your first choice?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me add one thing to your list.
Okay.
Lifesavers runs the resale upscale shop.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and we always have so many pretty fun things. A lot of them still with the tags on it. So next time you're in the mood for a cheap shopping spree,
Oh, great.
you come to us. Yeah. Sometimes we lock the doors so nobody can get in and we shop first. And no, we don't do that. But yes, so keep that in mind, the resale upscale shop. Now, the last question I want to ask you, one thing I love about you is you are so fond of Dallas. And you brag about it and talk about it being your hometown. Outside of your family being here, what's your favorite thing about Dallas?
That's so hard. I think it's just all the people. Like today, even I grew up with a lot of these people here, and it's just there's something different about the city, and I just have experienced that from living in LA. And we have a great community that's really special. But when you come back here, you're like, man, there's just a different culture and sense of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my favorite. Even when you see someone out and about, everyone's just so sweet.
And friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
Hearing your
having me.
story is you've really made quite an impact in Dallas and in the world with your story and being so open with your thoughts and your commitment to Christ and your love for these other younger women and their adjustments to a world that is very similar to yours. So thank you. And you can live in LA as long as you want to, but let me tell you something, in Dallas, you are ours, right? We claim you. So thank you for being here tonight.